Weights and Downer. You or someone you know has lost the ability to earn a living because someone put the company interests before their well-being. In times like these, there's one firm who has handled hundreds of catastrophic and lost earning cases. Before you settle fast with a company's attorney, give Weights and Downer a call. 985-876-0870. Weights and Downer. Let us fight for your rights.
All right, we are back, moving in public officials to get you as much information as we can. The parish president, Mr. Jason Bergeron, is here, and I saw you here, there, and everywhere. EOC here, running around all over the place. All right, this was your first go as parish president. I think you and your team did a stellar job, and I think the numbers are getting up every day. Power almost all the way?
Yes, sir. Almost all the way. I know we got a few stragglers at parish utilities, things at particular houses, you know. And then I know Energy's talking about possible 95% today. And then I know between today and tomorrow, hopefully everything's fully restored. So those crews have been working hard. And our team at the parish, just rock stars, just did an amazing job. And you know, I just did everything I can to lead them and get out their way and let them get to work. So it's really, we dodged a bullet. Feel very blessed. Right now.
This was just a different dynamic. I've never seen an eye wall trying to replace an eye wall over Terrebonne Parish, but I looked up, it's called the Brown effect, where it's actually strengthening because it's pulling water, the water we had in the rain.
Right.
So it takes the water out the ground, but it thinks it's still in the Gulf. So it gets stronger. It's an amazing thing that we see. But what was it like? Your first hurricane as parish president? How did it go?
You know, again, I got to give credit to our team. You know, Earl put him up as the best EOC in the state, really having everything, you know, that as soon as, you know, you look at Sunday afternoon, we had a 10 to 20% chance of tropical storm winds to get basically a direct hit with a category 2, right? So that's how much it changes. And that, you know, we have an hour countdown. And at that point, we worked with GOSEP. They kicked off the clock. And from that point forward, it was doing everything we need to do according to the protocols and procedures that are in place. And, you know, we were prepared and we went through and made decisions. And as soon as the storm let up, got out and about and started doing reconnaissance and assessments and working to get back to work and get the parish back to normal.
Just in general, an overall look at it, I almost break it up in two sectors, wind and water, because they're two different factors, but give us an update on both if you could.
So, you know, wind, I know category 2 winds, I know we had gusts up to 97 miles an hour at the EOC. The northwest part of the parish had some sustained hurricane winds. Surprisingly, you know, with all the, I say surprisingly, but all the resilience we've done since Hurricane Ida, you know, far few poles down. Of course, you had trees and lines, which this always happens. And we had some outages, you know, a lot of outages related. I think at one point we were almost close to 60,000. Water perspective, the levees held. We had a place between Terrebonne and Lafourche on the line that gave a little bit, but they had a redundant levee and some other things there that really helped out. And I understand, you know, right up on Thibodaux, there was some flooding in a couple houses and had to evacuate some people in the middle of the storm. One family lost their roof. So, you know, I say we're blessed, but we do have a few families that lost everything. A lot of damage outside the levee system and a few inside the levee system. So we're doing our damage assessment where I think we're north of 400 damages, assessed properties, minor all the way to major, completely lost. So we're going through that process and getting that information out and working on trying to get the federal declaration that we need to really do the recovery. And hopefully we get that from the White House soon.
Yeah, and y'all stated, I want to thank, you know, Robbie Lee and Caroline and Steve and Lalani. I mean, the texts were coming. And that's the logistical part that people don't see. You're still trying to look at the parish, but you got governors coming in, senators, FEMA reps. So you can't miss an opportunity to nudge them a little bit. So you're sort of juggling your time. How was that logistically?
I give credit back to the team again. It was, hey, I need you here, I need you there. Let's go have this meeting. Let's make that decision. You know, I really got to commend them for the great job we did. We were doing the numbers, I think somewhere around 100. I think this is the 102nd, 103rd interview that we did. And, you know, I look at I said this multiple times and I'll say it again, you know, the experience we went through, you wonder why does stuff like that happen? And I just got to say that I ended up in a room with the governor, FEMA, and John Kennedy, Garrett Graves, and that's a meeting we've been trying to have for 4 or 5 months with the Clomer that we're working on about recognizing our levees and adjusting the flood maps. And so it allowed us to have that conversation. I call it real talk. I had to sit across the table with somebody and talk about the plight we're going through. And, you know, the conversation was, we invested $1 billion between these two storms. We probably saved $2.5 billion. But the conversation I wanted them to hear was, what price can you put on culture? What price can you put on quality of life? And so through that, you know, it's priceless, right? So it's about, there's things you can't see and understand. And I see some pictures right there you're showing. So Tim Temple came down yesterday and I brought him exactly to the place. You know, I showed him where the water was for that floodgate right there. The water was at the top. And so to show that it held, and he's talking about getting some, the underwriters in here to get them to see, it was interesting to see him look at that and say, you know, it's one thing to talk about it, it's one thing to see pictures, but to see it firsthand, how well the levees did. And I got to commend everybody, you know, I know Gordy and the levee district and all our representatives and everybody that has worked to this point to get us where we were. You know, and I said 30 to 50 miles west in a stronger storm, we're having a different conversation today.
Yeah, and Angela and Mitch and Trey and Tony and, you know, Gordy with CPRA. And now you're involved in that, but you're juggling pumps and levees, but all the pumps ran, everything.
Yeah, we pumped down. We had all that rain. We got Bayou Terrebonne at Bonanza down to a 3. And then it went back up to 5-6 foot, you know, with all the rain and water. And of course, everybody might not realize, but all that rain, all that flooding in Thibodaux drains to us, you know, so we got to get that water moving through.
We get everybody's rain.
Yeah, we get everybody's rain. And look, it's something where you go, you know, just because it's pumping full blast and everything, water just takes a while to move. And so, but again, our systems did what they were supposed to, and I just commend our team, everybody, all of our directors. I just couldn't have done without them.
Let's do this. We'll take a break. We're going to have 2 segments with the parish president, a lot to talk about. We'll be right back.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
All right, we're back getting you as much information as we can. We're with the parish president of Terrebonne Parish, Mr. Jason Bergeron. And when y'all gave the EOC press conference in the FEMA, is she a director? I know she's not a cabinet.
She's a secretary.
Secretary, yeah.
Yeah, secretary
I always
of FEMA.
get confused. And John Kennedy even said, well, she ought to be on the cabinet. You know, FEMA's an important part, but if she didn't walk away from Terrebonne Parish not knowing what the plight of Terrebonne Parish is, then I just don't know if we're ever going to get to a part where they know. Are y'all still waiting on stuff with declarations and all?
Yeah. So, you know, like how John Kennedy said it, that she her heart's in the right place. Somebody, you know, the president above her is making that decision. But yeah, we got a partial declaration. We don't have anything as far as individual assistance, Cat A, Cat B, and we're trying to get Cat F for utilities. But that's where the recovery, you know, the emergency preparedness, the recovery after the debris, you know, those are all the things that we are working on. And we talk rough numbers this morning. You know, we're in the over 30 million mark with the parish right now with the money spent for getting to doing before and during, and it's already after the storm.
And just a logistical, because I've seen it for a long time, these pumps that are pumping, and they've been pumping since the rains. And I think some of these places you probably have anywhere from 2,000 to 8,000, 10,000 gallon tanks out there. That diesel don't last forever.
It doesn't.
It goes down quick.
We're working on filling everything back up. And of course, we got to go through and start maintenance of the pumps, you know, the ones that have been running, all the oil change and everything, so that we get ready for the next system. And, you know, I know we're already starting to jump into that. But, yeah, you know, it's something that, you know, we want the federal government to understand. The state government knows it, and they're doing everything they can. But I want the federal government to know, and that's the conversation I even had that day with FEMA was, I'm concerned about the residents that have to go buy groceries that can't afford it. The same ones that couldn't afford to evacuate, the same ones that might buy to spend gas on a generator, but spending money on gas on a generator. And I understand Second Harvest is going to be working on some things to make some people whole when it comes to the food they lost in their fridges and all. So we're telling people to, follow our Facebook, follow our website. And as we have information released, we're going to continue to push out information like we did throughout this entire storm.
And yeah, and for some people, it is a learning experience. This storm, the dynamics of it, I've never seen before.
Yeah, and I've heard that a lot. I mean, every storm, you could have 5 storms hit the same path. And they're all going to do a little bit something different. It depends on when they're created, how fast they're moving, the wind speeds, everything. And again, I go back to when we were talking at this desk about it's a 1 prepared for a 2. Sure enough, man, it jumps right to a 2 before it hits us.
I think when it's all said, somebody said they had 117 sustained in one part.
I can believe
it could be a 3 before it's over, but I doubt if they'll lift it up. They never like to lift things. But as the storm was sitting over Terrebonne Parish, I kept telling everybody, this storm's getting stronger, because I'd taken a break and I went out the front door and I said, we're not in the eye. One eye wall was trying to replace the other eye wall, and it was sucking up all that moisture that called rain and marsh water, and it was just like hot. It was just getting stronger and stronger. And at one point I'm going, I thought the tail end was gone, and all of a sudden it's regenerating. So and then the tail end got it.
And then when we talked to National Weather Service, because we were seeing the same things, and they were like, some radars being blocked by the storm, and they were telling us you probably got another 3 hours. It was right around 2 hours that it did continue to blow, and then we were finally able to get out and do the assessments. But
but looking at the EOC, there had a lot of people at the EOC.
Yes, sir.
And they all looked like they were serious at what they were doing and feeding off the other one and giving them information. So that went pretty well too, didn't it?
It did. And again, I give credit back to Earl on that. We set up these ESFs, and it's everything from public works, utilities, housing, hospitals, law enforcement. Everybody's in the room, and we're relaying information real time. And even like I said, sheriff's office is in there. So anything that's going on that they see, that we see, we can relay back and forth. And so there's definitely no shortage of communication and information. And it's really just making sure that stuff gets to the right people. You look right now, just to let you know, we still have about 50 people in our shelters. We're comparing that to the damage assessments that we're doing to see what what the addresses are, if they're people that don't have their homes, and what we're going to do for a little bit midterm, short-term, long-term, midterm, long-term plan. So we still, even though, a lot of people are kind of getting back to normal life, we still have a lot of residents that don't have power. We still have a lot of residents that can't afford groceries. And we still have a lot of residents that don't have a home. I say a lot, but we have some residents that don't have a home to go back to.
But we still had 0 homes flooded.
0 flooded. Like I said, how close to the parish line with Lafourche? I think we had 1 or 2 with Thibodeau. I know had a lot of flooding in it.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of doing some of those assessments and getting a better understanding.
Thibodeau caught a different dynamic from this as well. Do y'all communicate? Did the parish presidents from Terrebonne and Lafourche talk during these things? Because we're so close together. Or y'all so busy that you're trying to handle your own deal?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of go into it. We have our Parish Presidents Association. It's about 25 of us. So it's an early call of going, hey, hope everybody makes it out okay. If you need anything, let us know, and we touch base. But yeah, Archie and I talk on a regular basis, and really just hey, you need anything? You okay? I'm good. Yeah, do you need anything? And we have that communication throughout. It's really trying to just make sure that everybody's doing okay. And again, like we talk about where Lafourche pumps into Terrebonne Parish, so we want an understanding what's going on there, and just working. And I got to give credit to you guys also, keeping everybody informed and doing what you do at this station. Between y'all, Tim Saunier, I got to give a great shout out to him. Worked well together and had conversations. This is one of the first times we didn't evacuate our jail. So we were able to get some things in place that allowed us to not evacuate prisoners, and that's a cost that we saved the parish there. But just working with him, working with our EOC, working with Red Cross, working with our delegation, our council members, across the board. We all got together and we worked as one Terrebonne, and we really just did everything we could to take care of our residents.
Thank you for the kudos, but thank you too, and your team. You did a great job. We appreciate it. So we'll see you around on the next update.
Yes, sir.
All right. Once again, the Parish President of Terrebonne Parish, Jason Bergeron. We'll be back.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.